Surprise and shine. Watch the Apple event online on 9/9 at 10 a.m. So you can go to Apple's website and see that they made it official that they are going to be covering and launching these new products. They don't say it clearly here, but we know what it is. It's the iPhone 18 Pro. It's the iPhone Ultra, or iPhone Fold, or iFold, or whatever it's going to be called. Everybody has their rumors and speculations, but usually it comes down to the last day to see all the official details. So you're definitely going to want to tune in, and you're going to want to be subscribed because we are going to be covering those iPhones here on the channel. We're going to start with the Pro Max and the Ultra Fold, or whatever it's going to be called. But I want to give some thought and talk about the 18 Pro. Now, this is the 17 Pro, but this is a very good example of what we can be looking at. So they're probably going to stick with a familiar design language here. They're not going to change the shell of the phone in just 1 year, but we are going to see different color options. And I do think we're going to see a cherry or a red type colorway for this upcoming iPhone series, but we're going to stick with a familiar form factor. They're going to stay with this 6.3-ish form factor, so we're not going to see a massive size increase there. The Pro has always been known to be that pocketable, ergonomic footprint that does give you a little bit more of a manageable single hand use. I say a little bit because in reality, in my daily experience, the phone is still not a small phone, but the reach is a lot easier. You can at least get up there pretty easily overall. So it's not super hard to reach here. So definitely like this one if you're tired of a large phone. Keep that in mind. The next one is going to be similar to what I talked about with the Max. Wow, almost dropped that mid-video. I've talked about all year how these phones are slippery. You just seen it there live on camera. Just trying to move it. That's why it came out of frame. Almost dropped it live there. You'll see the dynamic island right there is likely to be reduced, probably half the size. We're going to go ahead and see what does make its way, but I highly doubt we're going to see the dynamic island looking exactly the same once again. But there is always a small chance it does. Not likely though. Lots of rumors are pointing to that component changing overall, maybe giving you a little bit more phone screen real estate. They might call it a 6.4 inch because of that change. We'll have to see what happens there. I do think we're going to see a better LTPO display that does allow for a bit better brightness outdoors, while still preserving its battery life due to the other area of this phone that's going to be new, which is the 2nm chip. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, this should have a better brightness outdoors. Not that this one doesn't already have an amazing brightness. We might see that. So we'll have to see what happens with the display, but I think it should be slightly more efficient. Now, one of the camera enhancements here for the upcoming iPhone 18 Pro is likely going to be that this camera does give you refinements to what we've already seen here. We might get a little bit more zoom on the upcoming camera. And we also might see that variable aperture, but that could be reserved for the Max. That one's still a wild card, but could be reserved overall for the larger device. I do think we're going to see upgraded sensors, and likely we might still see the variable aperture here because recently Apple has been putting the same cameras in the smaller Pro and the Pro Max. People complained before about why am I paying almost the same price for the smaller Pro but not getting the same camera. So we might still see it here. It's a good chance we will overall. So just look out for variable aperture. Look out for and expect to see some refinements to the triple 48 megapixel. I don't think we're going to see a megapixel increase, but we should see upgraded sensor responsiveness as well as that change to, the ability to let in more light at night. So becoming more of a pro phone. Let's move on to talk about the next area, which I cover a lot on this channel, and that is going to be performance. So this is rocking the A19 Pro chip at 4.26 gigahertz clock speed. 12 gigs of RAM has given the phone plenty of leeway for long-term use. So if you got a 17 Pro, you made a good decision in terms of long-term because you have plenty of RAM on there to not only support Apple AI, the all-new Siri that comes here on iOS 27, but you'll also be able to continue to use this as Apple further advances their iPhone software. So pretty good stuff there overall. But what's going to change is we're going to see a cutting edge 2nm CPU. Now, this could actually bring generational leaps in performance and maybe even better optimization and noticeable drop in the power consumption, aka better battery life. So I do think that the iPhone should see definitely quite a bit better on the battery life for this phone. So that would be really, really good if you're looking for a bit more battery life, a bit more power. It's going to be really strong there. Will it be that noticeable in the day-to-day? I think yes, because iOS 27 is getting faster with their animations, faster speedy CPU. It should be slightly noticeable, but it's probably going to come down more to what the software does with their changes to 27, which is going to enhance even older iPhones. So I'm going to do a couple comparisons to the older devices when that new 2nm chip launches in the A20 Pro processor. So that should be pretty exciting to see. Another area that you might not think about too much is the modems on your phone. The Qualcomm modems on board have been great on previous iPhones. When they were at Intel modems, I was actually getting weaker signal strength, and you're going to see likely the custom C2 cellular modem in the upcoming iPhone Pro. This is further making Apple's iPhone a proprietary setup. So we already know that the iOS experience here, top to bottom hardware and software, it's all pretty much been Apple in terms of a lot of the areas of the phone. But some of the innards are still not fully Apple, but they're trying to make it more tighter control. They're making everything. So we'll see Apple's custom modem likely. This should improve those weak signal times, maybe give you better efficiency and better data speeds when out and about. That's really important because a lot of people are out and about. Let's be real. We are using, phones in our Apple CarPlay. We're out and about. We need to get signal. And what I'm really like, one of the areas I'm still seeing a little bit of an annoyance is when you're in an area with a lot of folks, whether you're at a concert or venue, or you're in a place where there's a ton of people, a gathering or something. That's when the 5G really struggles. So I'm really curious to see if this newer modem is going to improve in those areas. That could still be carrier dependent, but I'm really hoping to see improvements to just overall signal strength. It's a nice behind the scenes thing that actually makes your daily use a bit better for this phone. They also might be bringing a newer simplified camera control button. So maybe not this touch sliding button, maybe something a little slimmer. But I wouldn't, this to me is a wild card. I'm not sure that's actually going to happen. We might see the exact same button on here, but I don't think a lot of people are using that touch capacitive slider. So this might just get maybe scrapped down to just a simple camera control, maybe smaller. We'll have to see what happens here. I think this one's up in the air. It could remain exactly the same though. We might even see an N2 wireless chip, so improving AirDrop speeds, improving Wi-Fi and Bluetooth stability. Those haven't been really a big issue for me, but for some people, it's not always the best. Now, I do see a thicker, version of this phone coming. The 18 Pro should be a bit thicker than this 17 Pro right here, but I also think it's going to give us a substantially improved battery life because of those changes to the chipset. And it's going to remind me, I think, of one of those iPhone 6S years. When they had the iPhone 6 and then they do the 6S series. And then, that's older stuff. But, every once in a while, they're going to do that phone that gets the bump in battery. And I think this 18 series is going to be where you go for the even more battery. Not that these were bad. These are actually really great, the 17 Pros. But I think this is going to be maybe a substantial leap in the battery. And it's going to be driven by the efficiency gains on the actual insides of the phone. So this is going to be that phone you buy because the internals are a lot better than the previous 17 Pro, not because the phone on the exterior looks any different. Is it going to be life-changing? Probably not. Is it going to improve your daily efficiency? Absolutely. So if you skipped on the 17 Pro to 18 Pro coming, you should definitely not go get this right now. If you've been wanting to get it, clearly at this point, just wait it out at this point. It's really, really going to be worth it. Now, prices wise, I do think we're going to see another price increase. We're seeing it across a lot of the Apple products. And I personally think Apple's trying to get ahead of inflation so they can just hold those prices as inflation continues and we don't see major price increases after it becomes stabilized here. But some people think it's just simply because the annoying, AI data centers are taking up all the RAM, and that stuff is causing the price increases. But we'll see. We are going to see a price increase. That's the unfortunate truth. I just cannot see them charging exactly the same when they have already stated they're going to be increasing prices, and they're forced to. And also, if you look at the other Apple products that are in the lineup, they're already seeing price increases, including the new Mac Minis that just got announced. So that's something to expect. So that's everything I have for you right now on what to kind of like expect on this 18 Pro and the prices. We didn't give an exact price, but you know, I'm shooting for around $11.99 to $12.99 on this phone. I think that's where it's going to be, and I think the max is going to be around $13.99. That's my guess on these smartphones for upcoming on September 9th announcement. So let me know your thoughts. If you have an iPhone 17 Pro, you have an iPhone 17 Pro Max, or whatever, you just have an older iPhone, you're looking forward towards these 18 Pros, let me know which one you plan to go with, what color you want to see, and which iPhone has got you most excited on this upcoming surprise and shine event. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts down below. I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.